We've broken through in the right spot.
Quiet.
Stand ready. He killed Vanamar.
And many other mages. I know who he is, Cynthia.
In the same city as Philippa, and you didn't even bother to change your name. That takes balls.
Philippa's out of the picture. She's been arrested.
And I was supposed to die, but I didn't. Grave error.
I'll make you a deal.
You don't get it. You turned Triss into a cold stone. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why I shouldn't turn you into a cold corpse.
She is alive and well. We decompressed her successfully. There were no complications.
And the interrogation after she was decompressed? Because you did interrogate her.
I personally supervised it. We presented the tools, gave her a few bruises, and that sufficed to get her to talk.
Cynthia, tell him to shut up or I'll kill him.
Silence, Adelbert. That's an order. Witcher, help me complete my mission. Help me open Dearhenna's laboratory.
What'll you give me?
I've read the intelligence reports. I know your past. There are things in there, important things you don't remember.
I could force you to tell me.
I don't think so. Will you torture me? We both know you couldn't.
We'll come back to that. Why are you here?
We suspect Dearhenna's laboratory may contain documents and books that could be useful to the Imperial Academy of Science.
That wasn't even close to funny. You're lying.
We don't know what's inside. Dearhenna was a talented man, but also an eccentric.
What do you hope to find?
That's confidential. I cannot tell you. Regardless, we need your help. The laboratory lies beneath the Redanian camp, which we cannot penetrate above ground. We want to get there through the sewers, but can't manage it without a capable swordsman.
How can I get into the Nilfgaardian camp?
There's one entrance. Beyond it, a long, heavily guarded corridor. You can't hope to sneak in. Renwald Matson chose the spot specifically to avoid being surprised.
Where are you holding Triss?
At the back of the camp, beneath a ruined building.
You're gonna help me free her?
Not likely. You're better off killing me now. You've no idea what the Emperor's intelligence apparatus does to turncoats.
About that offer. Fine. I'll help you open the laboratory.
In exchange, I'll tell you all I can. Do we have a deal?
Yeah.
Are we likely to encounter drowners? Or a related species? Perhaps other monsters?
That is how this world's built. Sewers are infested with monsters.
Ghouls?
No, just
Are we likely to encounter drowners? Or a related species? Perhaps other monsters?
That is how this world's built. Sewers are infested with monsters.
Ghouls? their being.
I'm impressed.
I've kept my end of the bargain. I hope you'll keep yours.
Be sure of it.
That was the first time I saw a Witcher in action.
I'm no rat to run around sewers. What we're looking for, anyway? Some graves, I heard.
Graves? So maybe there is something in this forest.
Shut your traps. Want the sergeant to hear? We've been deep shite. But it was a good idea.
We've got company.
Redanian bastards.
The entrance must be somewhere here.
If our experts are to be trusted.
Dearhenna dabbled in illusions, among other things. He also experimented heavily with golems. Golems with the power of speech, supposedly. They knew nothing of poetry, but...
Will you two shut up?
Yes, it's an illusion. I found a weak spot. Stand back. Later, Elorn. Lisa Elorn. Later, dear!
At times I'm thought you can get my kind of feat. Though I have no needles, they say I am piercing. What am I?
Careful with the answer. It could be a trap.
Typical of Dearhenna. He was a genius with a penchant for mischievous jokes, like a child.
So a couple of adults, purported experts, should have no problem solving this.
Indeed, it's trivial. The answer is pain.
Incorrect.
No! Impossible! So many years of research together. Why did we ever embark on this? Imagine the books, the potions. My poor friend.
We must go on.
Capable of kindness and cruelty, I take victims when I sour. I can be on your side or wrong you. I bring gifts though you already have me.
All right. Help me out here.
I was good at riddles as a child. That was so long ago. Perhaps it's a capricious king who rewards some subjects and sends others off to war.
Kind and cruel. Supportive and sour. Only lovers are that fickle. And they're occasionally thoughtful enough to give gifts.
A Lady Cynthia is an expert. I'd take her suggestion if I were you.
I once had a lover. She left me devastated.
Or could it be love? It seems to fit. It can be kind, the greatest gift, or cruel and take its toll.
It can also be blind. How about an elf? Some are kind and bring gifts, others are bitter and cruel.
Do you think this is a game? Our lives are on the line here.
Love.
Incorrect.
Anyone here good at riddles in their youth?
Forgive me for
Yours alone. Something essential.
Time!
Time flows. It doesn't come at night or during the day. You're not making sense.
But time can be pleasant or terrible.
Anything can be pleasant or terrible. But not everything can be short or long. What about a day?
We also say, my time has come.
But it doesn't fit the rest. This isn't a game of forfeits. Our lives are at stake here.
A day.
Incorrect. I'm seen to fly, described as hard. I can be your currency and heal all wounds, but not many things can stand my test.
Can you please repeat the riddle?
I'm seen to fly, described as hard. I can be your currency and heal all wounds, but not many things can stand my test.
Time.
Correct.
It's going rather well so far.
Not for everybody. Someone's been here recently.
Well, the competition's here. Kill them!
Just you wait!
They must have descended straight from their quarter.
Let a Nordling.
Another guardian. Later and Lorn, Lisa and Lorn, later dear! It's reacting to my
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
Did I hear someone complain about the riddles being too easy?
Let's think this through. There are 9 alcoves, a fresco in each. That's 3 groups of 3 frescoes.
The riddle mentions 3 guides above the travellers. We must examine the frescoes, seek answers there.
I'll advise you about the riddle, but I will not take part in disarming the device. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
What do you think of the first verse?
I would say it describes a serpentine dragon swallowing its own tail, which represents infinity and thus time. The hourglass likewise symbolizes time. In this case, the time of the traveller's journey.
I believe it's the dragon constellation. It would be visible at night. What's more, sources on alchemy invariably portray dragons as winged, and as an accomplished alchemist, Dearhenna would also be a competent astrologer. The verse must refer to the constellation.
In alchemy, the winged serpentine dragon represents prime matter, an essential component in the process of alchemical transformation. The verse seems to indicate the allegory illustrating that transformation.
It should be the dragon constellation.
I shall take that one.
What do you think of the second verse?
To my mind, it speaks of the white rose, symbol of the order of the flaming rose. You see, the fresco itself resembles a coat of arms, and in heraldry silver is rendered as white. So the silver lady and white rose are one and the same.
I think it describes the full moon. In alchemy, the moon represents both silver as a metal and the feminine element.
The order remains largely unknown in the south, so the white rose seems unlikely. Every Nilfgaardian, on the other hand, has heard of the Imperial Nausicaa Brigade, which has the death's head as its symbol. The brigade's name is female, and they say death follows the unit. So the Silver Lady could very well be Nausicaa or the death's head.
I think it's the full moon.
Allow me.
What do you say to the third verse?
It describes the precipice, the ravine amidst mountains. An ancient rule in alchemy states, as above, so below. The vault is the ravine into which the riches of the mountain flow.
We must read the third line literally. To me, it suggests the Mahakam Mountains and its mines, from which dwarves and gnomes extract many ores that are invaluable to alchemists. Those mountains are a vault in and of themselves.
The verse is not literal. In many legends, towers are in fact vaults, which the hero must penetrate in order to rescue an imprisoned princess or find a long-concealed magic item. The mountain vault is the tower.
The mine entrance in the mountainside. That seems logical. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will. I expected a greater challenge. Thus far we've had but riddles fit for beer enthusiasts. One buffoon.
A group of travelers at night.
I shall take...
Allow.
The mine entrance in the mountainside. That seems logical. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can take your place.
Count me out.
Intruder detected.
Our expedition has grown thin. Such a shame. I actually found those two amusing.
A golem? So Dearhenna's legend is true?
It is no more than an obedient machine created to follow orders and kill. Not unlike our Witcher.
So I guess we should get along famously.
Hugh, what do you know about golems?
I don't run into them in every forest, but any good bestiary describes golems at length, and I've read more than my share of those.
Geralt, I'm not questioning your knowledge, but I should be the one to...
Actually, you are questioning my knowledge. Listen, I know what I'm doing. I'll try to get it to reveal the word that'll deactivate it, or I'll just mess with its head. Break the code.
So now we've got a burglar in our midst. Be my guest. Try.
My intentions are good.
As are mine. Know, however, that this may change.
Dearhenna must have been pretty lonely if he gave you eloquence.
The Master made me a guardian. Nothing less, nothing more. And you, provided you stand there, are a guest.
So you're aware you're an automaton?
Do we really know who we are, where we came from, and where we are headed? Is human life predictable in that the cycle of birth and death ensnares it, better than mine? When a human is born, he is obedient to his parents. Later he listens to tutors, masters, corporals. Finally he succumbs to the will of death.
And to think that Adalbert questioned Dearhenna's mastery. Who, if anyone, is allowed to pass?
Dearhenna, but he is dead. Also guests may pass, but I stop intruders.
Tell me more. Who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Is it not obvious? A guest keeps his distance, or knows the name word. An intruder is anyone who enters too far, attacks me, or otherwise interferes with my being.
Has anyone tried to enter before?
I recall no intruders. I do, however, remember guests who left after being warned.
When was that? What did you discuss?
I am a machine. My memory is limited.
You're far more self-aware than a typical golem. Can you make sovereign decisions?
The master made me the way I am, because long discussions were to his liking. I can make decisions, within my program, of course.
So you decide who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Who else would? Guests chat innocuously, exerting no pressure. All others are intruders.
I have other questions. Do you remember your creator?
Of course. I was summoned into being by Master Dearhenna. I abide by his will, by his power, by the necessity encased in my stone bowels.
Dearhenna is dead.
His word, which animates me, lives on, as does his legacy, which I protect. Empires will rise and fall, rivers will shift their courses, but I will remain obedient to one master on my eternal watch.
Dearhenna must have been an exceptional man. Can you tell me about him?
I guard everything that belonged to the master, including his privacy, which he valued highly. I can tell you nothing.
Can I ask you for the name word which brought you to life and which can deactivate you?
Do that, and I shall consider you an intruder.
I have other questions. Did your creator give you a name?
I'm called obedience and unyielding persistence. I am a guardian and the humblest of servants.
A golem's name is the word that gave it life, and that can take it away. You must have a name.
I own nothing. Everything belongs to my master. How could I divulge the name if I exist solely to protect my creator's property?
Powerful magic created you. Dearhenna was a true master.
He is still, since his mastery survives.
As a conscious being, you must be lonely here.
You are wrong. The pain of the world, melancholy, lies within the domain of emotions and feelings. My thoughts are governed by pure logic, restricted by my program.
But you can learn. They say that a penchant for philosophy can only come from curiosity.
In my case, it comes from the will of the master, who liked to speak with me.
And do you feel a need to discuss?
I feel nothing. I just have that need.
Can we discuss the program that controls your behavior?
Of course not.
I have other questions. All right, I think I know how to get past this thing without a fight.
Burglar witchers, philosopher golems, an expedition replete with fascinating discoveries.
And terrible disappointments. Shut up, Adelbear. And you, Witcher, deal with that golem.
We know you exist by the will of your master, thanks to the name word he gave you.
That is true.
You were created to discern intruders from guests. You are to stop the former and greet the latter.
Intruders must be stopped.
Are you aware that intruders may seek to deceive you?
I have stone fists to defend myself against those armed with swords. I have my iron logic to defend against those armed with words.
But intruders could include sorcerers who alter reality. They could be illusionists or mere liars. What then is certain?
My existence is certain, as is my master's will.
Since only you and the master's legacy exist for certain, everything else is doubtful. A malicious intruder could cloud your senses.
I am the guardian. The master prepared me for that.
He couldn't foresee everything, so he gave you a mind to compensate. You're much more conscious and intelligent than a guardian needs to be. Your master says, greet guests and stop intruders. That is certain, but everything else can be a lie. And you cannot allow yourself to attack guests. That would be against your master's will.
Guests must be greeted, and intruders must be stopped. This is Dearhenna's will. Are you a guest or an intruder?
Doesn't matter what I answer. Your senses deceive you. You can trust only your mind. You can't assume I'm a guest, because I may be an intruder. You can't assume I'm an intruder, because I may be a guest.
This is a contradiction, a paradox. The law of excluded middle.
We've done it. We've penetrated Dearhenna's laboratory.
Let's have a look. This is better than I'd hoped.
A great success for Nilfgaard, this mission.
Maybe you'll get that promotion.
Dearhenna's notes about the city's history. Dearhenna describes finding an important document about the Vrans. Dearhenna's notes from a trip he took to Zerrikania.
Can you feel that?
My medallion's vibrating.
Another masking illusion. I'll try to disperse it. Later.
Dearhenna mentions bacteria strains.
Later, dear!
The device. What is it?
You've done your job. You'll be paid and...
Paid like the scholars were? They died once they were no longer useful.
They were never useful, but Cynthia insisted. Fortunately, they were so kind as to remove themselves without my help.
I'm not about to be that kind.
Adelbear, you know what you're to look for.
Yes, Ma'am.
It's a prototype megascope. I didn't know it had survived.
What's it do?
The artifact detects an emotional bond with a person. Its user need only focus on that person and the device will establish a connection.
Great tool for a spy.
Yes.
Time you fulfilled your end of the bargain. What do you know about my past?
You were a rider of the Wild Hunt. I read the reports.
Don't the Nilfgaardians have anything better to do than write reports about witchers?
Not about witchers. About you. You are the sole person to have been a member of the host, and survived.
Anything else? Any detail you can give me would be useful.
Don't trust Letho.
You think I trust the people I hunt?
He's your foe today, but he wasn't always.
Is there anything to prove I was part of the Wild Hunt?
Nothing. Apart from the fact that Nilfgaardian intelligence agents are drawn and quartered for lying in their reports.
An enlightened nation indeed.
You haven't the faintest notion how many people are interested in you. Very important people.
Just because I survived?
You're a former rider of the hunt, and you live. You may be the key to solving the mystery of the retinue, and they all know that. You must watch out for yourself.
How do you know I knew Letho?
I've read...
The reports, I know. Why are you warning me about him?
Because I like you.
Let's say you've satisfied my curiosity.
Well then, consider me glad to have satisfied a witcher, whatever the way.
I'd like to try out the device.
You realize that can only end badly.
Cut in again and I'll put you in my report. You may use it, but just once.
Giving state secrets away to a Nordling. Will you mention that in your report?
You're sure to be named a commander one day, Adalbert. But until that happens, be a good boy and do your job.
Article 22 of the Code is clear. Suspicion of treason is sufficient grounds to strip a commander of power. Article 1 of my personal code is equally clear. Traitors must be subjected to the most painful death possible.
Multiplication. Second year at the academy, all mages learn it.
I didn't expect you to take my side.
Well, now choose one person you wish to contact. After that, the artifact's mine.
Will we meet again?
I wouldn't mind at all. Look for me at the inn.
Nilfgaardian agents get quartered for lying in reports. What does the Empire do to agents who kill their colleagues?
Nothing. As long as no one finds out.
Let's say...
Well then.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't eavesdrop while I eavesdropped.
I shan't trouble you. I've a lot of work to do here.
Your fate is in your hands, sorceress.
My fate? You haven't asked a single question about me.
Yet it is all up to you. Your situation is a comfortable one. Do not squander your chance. So, wish to tell me anything?
I'm a sorceress, an advisor to the King of Temeria.
I believe we agreed you would speak only of things I do not know about.
I hope you learned something useful.
I'm just sorry I can't use the artifact a few more times.
Its power has been depleted.
I understand. Thanks anyway.
At your service.
So, are you a sorceress now?
It's not that simple. A pass is simply not enough. But Philippa Eilhart summoned me here for an important exam, so I hope to be one soon.
An exam?
A secret one. I'm not even sure how to prepare. I'm cramming intensely, everything bit by bit, just to be sure.
Good luck. Still willing to sell me potions and herbs?
I'm a student, aren't I? Every little copper counts.
I'm collecting information about the Wild Hunt. Help me out?
The Wild Hunt. A retinue of wraiths who speed across the heavens upon skeletal horses. Positive proof of its existence has yet to be proffered. However, no one is prepared to deny its occasional sorties into this world.
Proffered? Sorties?
That, at least, is what I remember from the lectures.
Nothing special. Oh, it's a lovely day today.
You lose some. The hero at your service.
How are things?
You're either very unobservant or very rude. I thought I'd meet some of my colleagues from years past, chat with them and reminisce, but they all turn their heads away and treat me like air.
Mages aren't known for being polite.
You're telling me. They threw me out of Banard the first chance they got. Must have beaten the Chancellor one too many times. They've all forgotten me, and I believe I've had enough. I'm getting rid of the grimoires and amulets. I don't want anything to do with mages.
I'd like to cast an eye at those if you don't mind.
Sure. Cast both if you want.
Anything on the wall?
I'd avoid the topic altogether. Nothing good has ever come to those who have delved.
I'll take my chances. I need to know why the wraiths carry off youths. What happens to them?
This knowledge has never been recorded, which does not mean it cannot be acquired.
Well, I'd like to acquire it.
In the chasms beneath Loch Muin, there is a sword that once belonged to an elf from the parallel world.
And nobody's gone to look for it?
There are mages who seek it still, but the sword is well concealed. They say he who handles it will understand the essence of the wild hunt. Could that be true, though?
Yes?
I guess you're here about the war with Kedwin.
They wouldn't let us near Natalis, and Radovid refuses an audience. Scandalous. The mages drone on about their coven of advisors, but even they don't take us seriously. Perhaps the prince could get something, but I'm not certain they'll let him into the talks. Henselt protested, and the others are too cowardly to stand up to him. As a result, we are not officially here.
Henselt can't openly interfere in your matters.
Who's to stop him? He claims the prince is preparing to set a dangerous precedent by eradicating serfdom.
Terrible crime. Next thing you know, he'll do away with court protocol. The mages will be overjoyed if you sign their treaty. Any idea who'd be the advisor in Vengerberg?
They insist on appointing the advisors themselves, though I doubt Saskia will accept that.
Anything can happen.
That lass will allow no one to control her. I've been observing her. She's a splendid commander.
Making her even more dangerous if anyone manages to manipulate her.
I'm not sure I understand.
Just thinking aloud.
Gotta pay for looking too.
Renounce magic, I tell you! Shatter your towers and crystal balls! Break your wands and burn your hats! Turn away
What do you want?
Smelled something awful. Thought it was dung. Now I see it's only a couple of Redanian dogs.
What was that? Bloody bastard. You're about to feel a Redan...
What's going on here? Enough!
Nothing worth your while. A little difference of opinion.
I could treat this as an assault on representatives of the Redanian royal delegation.
Yeah, you could. What would that entail?
A stint in the dungeon ought to calm you down. Then we'll see.
A stupid street fight, and you want to dump me in a dungeon with Philippa Eilhart?
Ah, we're not animals. A modest contribution to the Order, along with your word of honor that you'll not do this again.
A contribution and my word of honor, or the dungeon.
Precisely.
Listen, Sir Knight, if you don't shut your fat mouth, I'll start a row that'll make the Battle of Brenna look like a squabble.
Bind this madman and lock him up with the witch!
You? Here? What are you doing here?
I worked awfully hard to see Philippa Eilhart in chains.
I doubt you'll be so witty once we're standing side by side on the scaffold.
Unlike you, I've done nothing that would get me hanged.
To them, you're a kingslayer. I assure you, Radovid's torturers will make you admit to anything, even intercourse with trolls.
Radovid's no idiot. He knows I'm innocent. Besides, I helped him once.
Radovid is a politician. He'd gladly show the world he's an avenger of fallen kings.
Sure, but before he does that, he'll gladly hear about your exploits in Vergen.
By aiding the rebels, I weakened Henselt's position, and that's of paramount importance. Radovid is king of the hill. He has the deciding vote during the summit, thanks, among others, to me.
Is that why he dumped you in this dungeon?
This, Witcher, is a little misunderstanding.
Did you know from the start that Saskia was a dragon?
I had suspected she was not what she seemed to be for some time, though I did not learn the truth until she fell poisoned and I could examine her thoroughly.
I've seen the list of antidote ingredients. Not a word about the Rose of Remembrance.
Well, we all prefer to have loyal allies. The Rose of Remembrance is very powerful. Even as a she-dragon, Saskia could not resist my spell.
Why don't you summon her? You could use some help now.
Dimeritium blocks all magic, telepathy included.
Someone's coming.
Your Majesty.
I've waited long for this meeting. You left Redania so suddenly I had no chance to give you the send-off you so richly deserved.
Your Majesty, I fail to understand why I have been arrested. I've done nothing but serve Redania's interests, supporting the rebellion, undermining Henselt, risking my own reputation on your behalf.
I'm no longer the little boy who believed your every word.
Why do you do this, Radovid? I was there at your most trying hours. Without me, you would not be the man you are. I don't understand.
You understand very well. You conspired against my father Vizimir, and against me. The entire Redanian court once trembled in fear of Philippa Eilhart.
Untrue, sire. You must let me explain. What are your charges, Your Majesty?
Ambassador.
Triss Marigold was kind enough to compile a list of persons making up the secret society known as the Lodge of Sorceresses. Some Nilfgaardian sorceresses were members as well, but you need not be bothered with them, my lady.
Triss, you're mad!
The Lodge ordered Demaven killed. It ordered Foltest killed. I suspect you played a part in my father's death. And if I released you from the Dimeritium, you'd kill me too. You're finished, Eilhart. There will be a trial, due process, everything as it should be. But know that you shall not wriggle out of this. You shall be convicted of conspiracy, treason, and regicide. They'll rip your flesh from you in bits before they burn you at the stake. Throughout my childhood, I felt your cold stare on the back of my neck. When I issued orders, my subjects would search with their eyes for Philippa Eilhart's gesture of consent. The entire court at Tretogor looked on as you humiliated me. All Redania laughed behind my back. You taught me to look everyone in the eye. Forced them to lower their gaze, do you remember? A king must never show weakness, uncertainty, you said. I've mastered that skill. Yet there is one I could never force to submit. You. You've one chance to shorten your suffering. Admit to everything, here and now in the ambassador's presence. Look me in the eye and repent. Submit. As you wish. Torturer, put out those vile eyes.
You're making a grave error, sire.
We will talk again, witch.
I refused to believe it when they told me Geralt of Rivia was in my dungeon. The Geralt I know wouldn't let himself be captured.
I was really hankering for a tour of your dungeon, sire.
What's so interesting about it?
The guests.
I apologize for the dismal company you're in, Witcher. Fortunately, Eilhart won't be with us much longer.
I beg your mercy, not for myself, but for Triss Merigold.
Your friend is now in Ambassador Fitz-Esterland's hands.
I know, but surely Shillard won't deny you a small favor, sire.
Forgive me, but I can't be sure that I won't require grander favors from Nilfgaard. The fate of entire nations will be decided in this city. Individuals are irrelevant.
The Nilfgaardian ambassador mentioned an organization of sorceresses. Just so happens I'm interested in the plans of this lodge.
Those plans should interest no one, because the lodge will soon cease to exist. I've nothing against you personally, Witcher, but you've gone from being an uninvited guest to being an awkward witness.
I understand I'm in for an extended tour.
You certainly shan't leave here before the summit ends.
I'm flattered, sire, but you overestimate me if you think I could influence it in any way.
Politics is like a complicated puzzle. Every piece may prove useful, or equally useless, even harmful. A breakthrough awaits us here at Lochmuin, by my hand no less. This will be no second Thaned. Soon, everyone will learn what the Redanian king is capable of. You'll excuse me, but it's time for the summit.
Radovid is capable, but too young. He has yet to understand that only the dead remain truly silent. Because Redania is doing Nilfgaard a favor, I feel obliged to help the king in return.
Let Triss go.
That would be foolish. If there truly is a place we go after leaving this Vale of Tears, you'll meet her there soon enough. Allow me to relieve the Redanian executioner.
What favor do you mean? You can tell me. Just like you said, the dead keep their secrets.
That's true, but I prefer to be cautious. I promise to reveal every last detail as soon as your body is cold. Pity you won't live to see it. Lochmuin's in for a huge surprise. Both the mages and the kings.
Nobody likes others to decide for them. That's especially true of kings.
You're dangerous, Witcher, and too independent. In time, Radovid will thank me, and he won't be alone. Kill him, but beware his sorcery.
Hold him, Hart.
Get me out of here!
I need some answers first.